Robert, how has the global trade landscape fared over the past 12 months?
I think it's fair to say that there has been a significant improvement. After seeing the deepest decline in world trade growth since even deeper actually than the Great Depression in the previous year, we have seen a recovery. It's a recovery that hasn't taken us back to the previous peak, but nonetheless we have seen a recovery. In addition, significant for our report is what's been happening to trade policies in general and protectionism in particular. People were very fearful that the declines we'd seen would be exacerbated and made worse by countries raising their tariffs and adopting protectionist policies. And what we find is that by and large, countries have held the line when it comes to their tariff policies. We do see that in some other areas there has been an increase in different forms of protectionism relating to increased government intervention in the economy. But overall, I have to say that the verdict is that we have not repeated the mistakes of the 1930s. We do see a significant recovery in world trade, and I think we have reason to believe that as demand increases, world trade will come back towards the previous peak, although it may take another 12 months.
So how can the recovery from the global crisis be helped by trade?
Well, I think we cannot do this alone. If we don't, the crisis itself was global, and that informed all of us, if we ever needed to be informed, that we are in an interdependent global economy. So what we need is growth around the world. The emerging economies have, again, done much better than was feared. And China, India have now seemed to be set on a return to their rapid growth paths. And that's going to be good for the world. The developed countries, we're also starting to see recovery there. And so I would put the big stress on maintaining and even indeed accelerating more open markets and stimulating demand. When it comes to more open markets, the significant challenge for us now is the completion of the Doha round. That's the single most important thing we could do over the next 12 months. It would both open markets around the world in a way that nations have agreed is fair, and in addition signal like nothing else, that the world is committed to increasing international integration.
And finally, how can the Enabling Trade Report be used in this respect?
The Enabling Trade Report is a very useful device because it benchmarks how countries facilitate trade against other countries. And you know, we don't want to judge developing countries, poor countries, by the standards of developed countries. But with this report, each developing country and each developed country can see how well it's doing with respect to its counterparts. And the unique aspect of this report is that it doesn't just focus on trade policy narrowly. That is to say, the kind of duties or quotas that are imposed at the border. It includes countries being appraised on how well their customs are working. It indicates how well their infrastructure is working, their telecommunications, their regulatory frameworks. So it's a very broad perspective. And any country can look down the list of comparators and then determine where they need to do the best work and to improve their trade performance.